1 o'clock on Thursday, which means it is time for a YouTube live. So let me just do a quick refresh over here to be sure that I'm actually transmitilating and hopefully can see comments as they come up. Yep, looks good. Alrighty. So in the last couple of weeks, two of my teammates, Carol Buckaloo and Terry Lynn Bright, both of whom have blogs, have posted cards, fun fold cards, that are a bay window card. And I had never done a bay window card, and that meant it was time for me to get on the bandwagon, because you know I do like a good fun fold. Hey, Rosie, appreciate you coming. So I decided to do one that uses the new online exclusive, the Horse and Sleigh stamp set with the dies. Hello, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming. And a really pretty piece of the, one horse open sleigh 6x6 DSP that I have used for the front. And then I used one of the wood grain on the inside. All right, so this is a pretty easy card. I can tell you I've made a bunch of them, counting this one, that would be one. So we're gonna see how well of a job I do. How well of a job, my goodness, how good of a job I can get done. I did go out and get some measurements from Debbie Joy at Delight of My Art. So the measurements for this are thanks to her. So let's go ahead and get started. Everything will be on the blog tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you there's a few parts here where it will really truly be easiest for you to come back and take a look-see at the video. It'll be a lot easier to see it than it's going to be for me to write it. All right, I'm going to do my best, but I make no promises. Hey, Tara, appreciate you guys coming. Teresa and Maryland and Amy, hello, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get started. Stop yakking, get started. All right, so my card base is Lemon Lolly. I thought it went nicely with this particular DSP, and then I've used Misty Moonlight for the mat. So you start with a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock, okay? Putting the long end at the top. You are going to score at 1/4 inch. That one's kind of hard, so take your time. And it's not hard, it's just a little bit awkward getting your, you know, well, for me, my big fat fingers in there. And then again at 4 1/2. Now, Debbie recommended turning it over at this point so that when you make the other score lines, it creases the other way. So it's a good idea. Let's just do that. So we're just flipping end to end. All right. End to end means your 1/4 inch score is still at 1/4 inch. Okay. If you did it the other way, it would be out here at 10 3/4. Okay, so you want to keep that keep the score lines you've already done at the point that you just did them. All right, now starting again, we're going to go 1 1/2, 3 1/4, and 5 1/2. Okay, and that is it for scoring. So let's put our score tool away. Hey, Karen. Hi, Debbie. Appreciate you guys coming. On the PV Peninsula. Yeah, I don't even know what that is anymore, Terry. All right, so we're going to start. This is kind of interesting because this first piece is very much like a book fold, okay? So we're going to start at the furthest score away from the end and just fold everything in half. Remember, when you're doing fun folds, you really kind of want to be sure you get a good score. And we're going to score the first fold as a mountain, and then the next fold will be as a valley. And then we're going to do a couple of mountains. So there's a mountain. I'll even make a template for you. There's a mountain. And then the little 1/4 inch is a valley. Okay, now the little 1/4 inch one is a little bit tricky, so take your time. You want it to be, you know, pretty straight. Let me tell you what that 1/4 inch piece is. It's this right here, and it is the piece that tucks under. We have a raised piece right here. See how it's kind of hidden by using the same color cardstock or card base? All right, and this just tucks right under and creates the bay window. All right, so that's what that's for. Okay, so now let me get my brain recalibrated here. All right, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take some liquid glue, Palis Verdes. There you go. Oh, I bet it's beautiful. I bet it's beautiful. Do you guys remember one of my favorite folds, the book fold? Well, this right here is very similar. We're just going to put glue in here to hold this piece down. That's this end of the card. All right. So I'm just going to use liquid glue. Oh, maybe time for another bottle. My goodness, I went through this one like, okay, time for a new bottle. Stand by one whilst I reach into my stash of 4.8 million bottles of liquid glue. You know, every single time that I have leftover Stampin' Rewards, or I just need to bump up somewhere, I add some glue or some dimensionals or something. So I have a huge drawer filled with them. Don't put big globs of this liquid glue like I am doing. Okay, when you have a new bottle, you have to be really careful. It's like, think to yourself, glue come out, and it will come out. That's how that works. All right, and then we're just going to fold this down like so, and hold it for just a second so that it kind of, you know, takes, if you will. Okay. All right, now while that's setting, I've got some pieces here. I used this wood grain DSP for my two ends. All right, now this end is going to go on a 1 by 4 1/4 piece of lemon lolly, and it's going to end up being the piece that is popped up at the edge here to hold your, well, let's call it an easel because that's a good word for it, but it's just the bay thingy doohickey. Hey, Sandra. I'm so glad you're here. You should be able to watch the replay. I don't think you've missed much, just the cutting or the scoring, really. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm just matting this little strip of the One Horse Open Sleigh DSP on a piece of Misty Moonlight, and then I'm going to adhere it to the lemon lolly piece. Now you want that lemon lolly piece because that's the secret. That's the secret sauce, right, of a bay window, is that it looks like, that just looks like it's a piece there, and when it's popped up on some dimensionals, that slides under, and who can even figure that out? Hopefully your recipient, when they pull it out of the envelope, can figure it out. You might want to include instructions, just saying. All right, the other end is just the DSP on a piece of Misty Moonlight. All righty. Oh, I do love this One Horse Open Sleigh DSP. It is so stinking pretty. So pretty. Hi, everybody. Hi, Mary. Hi, Linda. And then I'm just going to adhere this to, let's call this the book fold end. Got a little carried away with my, oops. Remember, liquid glue is a little slippery for a second, which is good if you need to move it, but bad if you didn't mean to and you got all jiggy with it. Okay, so there's that. Now, let me show you how you're going to cut the DSP. When I saw the directions, it's really just a, oh God, it's a 1, 2, 3. It's like a 3.5 piece wide piece of DSP, and it is 4 inches long, okay? And you can certainly cut that, but what I think you want to do to preserve as much of your DSP as you can, all right? So let me show you how this is going to work. I want to keep my design, right? So when I have this on the card, you can see that that design carries across. So we're going to cut a 1-inch strip, and then a 1.5-inch strip, and then a 1-inch strip, okay? Now, just because I'm going to make it a little more difficult for you, I want to go from this end because I like, actually, you know what? Let's do this one a little bit different. We'll start at this end. So to cut these, I leave it full length, okay? And then I'm going to cut a 1-inch strip, 1-inch strip, like that. Okay. Keep the same orientation, and then a 1.5-inch strip. Just checking my measurements off there so I don't screw up. 1.5-inch strip, and then another 1-inch strip. Okay. So why did I do that? why didn't I just cut the 4 inches off of the bottom? Well, because now I have a piece that is it's about 2.5 by 6 inches, and that's a little more usable for another card. Okay, so that's just me. You can absolutely positively just slice that off at 4 inches at the bottom and then cut your pieces. You do you, but this seemed to make sense to me. And then we're just going to cut each of them. Let me double check my measurements. Oh, thank you, Kim. That is very, very sweet. All right, so we're just going to cut each piece at 4 inches. Okay, now here's another little trick. When you do it this way, cut them all from the same end. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. So we're going to cut from the bottom. I'm going to cut the more snowbank off than trees. Okay, so let's see, we're going 4 inches. 4 inches right there. Oops. Oops, there we go. So there's one. Again from the bottom. Now here's another little trick, okay? If you really love the bottom, take a 1/2 inch off of the bottom and a 1/2 inch off of the top, or whatever you need to make your distance, right? It's actually 1 inch off of the top and the bottom, all right? But you can do however works the best for you. All right. And one more. There we go. Okay, so let's put that aside. I think I'm done with those. And now I'm going to go ahead and mat these on their DSP panels. Or no, these are cardstock. These are DSP, these are cardstock. DSP cardstock, DSP cardstock. Jeez. Jeez. Jeez, old Petey Pete's. All right, remember just a little bit will do you for liquid glue. So yesterday we bought some more tomato plants, because I do like tomato plants, and we put these in the dirt. So now I've got 4 in the dirt and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Kratkies. And so we should be pretty well good for tomatoes for this year. There's only 2 of us, so I'll put up a lot in the freezer. I have a really great recipe for fresh tomato marinara, and I like to make a big batch of that, and I freeze it in individual servings, like half a cup. They're maybe 3/4 of a cup, and they're it's a silicone muffin tin, but silicone, so it's a silicone muffin silicone. And I freeze those, and then I can put them in a baggie, and I use them for our pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce or whatever, and it's really handy. And I also discovered last year that I can spread those out and dehydrate. I can spread the sauce out on the little dehydrator sheet thingies and dehydrate it and powder it, and then I have powdered marinara in my cupboard, which is so handy. Okay, so the recipe is Tidbits Marcy. It's from Tidbits Marcy, so it's tidbits-marcy.com, and it's fresh tomato, instant pot fresh tomato marinara. Don't get wrapped up about the Instant Pot if you don't have one. I mean, if you don't have an Instant Pot, I highly recommend that you get one. Amealthe is the one I have. But you could make it always. And it's so cool because I just fill up my pot with as much tomatoes as I have, whatever kind, Romas, cherries, beefsteaks, whatever I've got. I even put a few tomatillos in there one year. And you cook it down, and then it's the best. It's so fresh tasting and perfect. Okay, now let me think here before I screw up. Let's make sure these are right side up, because trees going upside down would be weird, wouldn't they? Wouldn't that be weird? I think that would be kind of weird. All right, and then let's make sure that we've got everything. Uh-oh. Here we go. Wait a minute. No, that's not right. There, I think that's right. There we go. Whew, that was a close call. I almost borked that. Okay, so you just want to put these back on in the same order that you cut them. All right? So we're going to do that with some liquid glue. And I just kind of try to line up the mats a little bit. Yeah, having those marinara cups in there is perfect. I can take one out, and that will, when we make pizza, I always have one with red marinara and one with pesto sauce, which I get out of a jar from Sam's, because I might make pesto this year. I don't know. But anyway, we have one with pesto and one with marinara. And I have enough leftover marinara to make like a chicken parm, or just a single serving for Wayne, or I'll put it in my Healthy Choice marinara just to give it a little extra sauce. A little extra. A little something, something extra. Okay, here we go. Here's the final one. So far, I would like to qualifiedly say I think I've put these on correctly. I think I have. It looks right to me. I mean, otherwise we're in Australia where everything's upside down. Get it? No, I can't. Sorry. Hey, Cindy, thank you for joining. And Cynthia, I hope you will get to make one. Okay, so that's that. Now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and do the innards, shall we? Let's make the innards before we get to the stick it up part. I have a piece of the wood DSP. I don't know if you guys do this or not, but I like to stamp sentiments and whatnot on DSP, especially light DSP like this. I think it's kind of fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp "and a Happy New Year" in Misty Moonlight. Yes, ma'am, that is true, Rosie. Thank you so much. And yeah, if y'all aren't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do, and be sure to click the bell for all notifications so that you know when I go live. Okay. Holding my breath, going to make this straight, because the only thing more embarrassing than a crooked sentiment when you're using, just in general, is a crooked sentiment with a photopolymer set, because how do you do that? All right. All right, so now I'm going to take the little tree image from the Horse and Sleigh set, and I am going to stamp it in Pebbled Path. But it's too dark for me. See how dark it is? I think that would be like, ah! So stamp it off once and then stamp the edge. And I can tell you a little secret. When I am trying to get straight stuff, I have a much easier time doing it horizontally than this. I don't know why, but give it a try. If you have trouble and your straight things end up crookedy, try turning it and stamping horizontally. All right, like that. And I'm going to start with this off at the edge. And then without re-inking, I'm just going to drop it down a little bit and stamp it 2 more times. And we'll do that one more time on the other side. It does help if your DSP is straight. And over here, I'm just going to stamp twice. Okay. So there's my inside. And if I was really being efficient, I would do my envelope at the same time. But I'm not. I'm just going to like waste time. Just waste it. Straight up waste it. Just throw it out there. So we're going to mat this on its Misty Moonlight mat. Okay. And that's going to go on the inside. Now, it's going to sit right here. But what I want you to do when you're making this is just put it in place with the kind of normal reveal that you would expect to see. And you take your piece that is the 1x piece and set it in place. When this is in place, it is going to have the right edge even with the outside edge of the card, and the top and bottoms even as well. So it's just the exact, it's lined up right with the edges of the card base. Okay, so then that gives you a much better idea of where to put that. But the truth of the matter is, if you just kind of put it right there with the normal reveal on the top, the bottom, and the side, you're going to be golden. Okay, thanks, Susan. I was happy with how it turned out, that is for sure. I don't know why it took me so long to make one of these. I guess I needed my teammates, who are wonderful. I have a wonderful team. I have a wonderful, wonderful team, the critters are. All right, there we go. I guess I just needed them to, you know, give me a kick in the hindquarters. Okay, we're getting there. Next up, we're going to go ahead and make we're going to set our doohickey-ish in place, okay? So I want you to watch carefully, because this is a little bit more tricky than like anything I've done so far, which is, you know, basically what? Score, fold, glue, glue, and yak. I've done a lot of yakking. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Watch closely. I'm going to set this in place, like I said, with the top, the side, and the bottom all lined up with the card base. Okay, so exactly right there. And then we're going to put this in place where everything is straight. So the bay is the bay. Does the bay is the bay make sense to you? The bay is the bay. So the bay is the bay, like that. All right. And then you can just pull that out of the way and leave that where it is. Leave that right where it is. Because what you're really doing is you're going to be sliding it under there, but you want it to stop. I couldn't figure out why she had done it this way, and then I realized it. If you put your dimensionals like right here, this is going to go all the way to the edge of that piece of cardstock. Okay, this is getting a little bit technical. I'm going all engineer on you here, okay? Sorry. So I was thinking, why don't you just pop the thing on and, you know, brace it with that edge. The problem is if you do that, it's really, I know right now it looks like it's straight, but it really isn't. Okay? Actually, I'm just about ready to tell myself that I don't need to make this so hard. That looks pretty straight, doesn't it? You know what? Let's do something crazy. It's paper, right? Let's try something. I'm going to go away from the directions that I got online. And I'm just going to put this on like it was a regular old easel. This may fail miserably, y'all, at which time I'm going to have to pick stuff up. So bear with me here because I want to experiment. I want this to be easier for you. So we're going to try it. All right, so I'm going to put my dimensionals where I would normally put them, which is not worrying about where to put them. All right. And then I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to line up the top and the outside edge and the bottom. That's going to be the hardest piece of it, is just getting it all lined up before you stick it down. All right. But you do need to take a second with this because this is how you're setting up your bay window for success. For bay window success. Okay. Okay, so now we've popped it on. Okay, everybody hold your breath. Are you holding your breath? You ready? Okay, here we go. Well, now, I don't know about y'all, but I think that is fine. I don't think that is I mean, it might be a little better if it was right there, but if you have, let me just say this about that. If you have a recipient who, no kidding, puts this up and goes, that is a 37.8 degree angle, and that is a 39.2 degree angle, you needed to send them a Hallmark card. I'm just saying, because I think that's perfectly fine, and it will be much, much easier for you to make like that. All right, y'all with me? Does that look good? Okay, so let's set that aside. I'm going to do a little bit of decorating. I have 1 sentiment to cut, and I have used the horse and sleigh die, this one right here, to cut out 2 pieces, 2 trees, and this is the dark wood grain from the One Horse Open Sleigh DSP, okay? And we're just going to use that as kind of some decoration. And on a piece of the light DSP, I'm going to stamp my front sentiment in Misty Moonlight. And then I'm going to cut it out. And I was going to cut this out ahead of time, and I thought, no, as sure as you do that, you'll mess it up when you stamp it. So now I have to go off camera, as it were, and I'm going to use the Stylish Shapes label die, banner die, to cut this out. I'll be right back. I'll be right back to you. All right, here we go. Okay, so there we go. See how fun it is to, I I don't, you know, Linda, that's a really good question. I don't know. I think you might want to, I don't know. Maybe you could write in pencil, slide this tab under edge of card. I'm not sure. This may be one of those, you know, for better for card makers who would think to look at. I mean, I still have people who, when I send them a card, my cards are all tent folds, you know, with the fold at the top. I still have them trying to do this, open it from the side, because we've all been trained by Hallmark, right? That's the only possible way for a card to open is like this. And when you want it to open like that, it confuses people. So I don't know. It's possible it would just conundrify them. It would bamboozle them. All right. So all I'm going to do here, this is really hard. I'm going to adhere this. Actually, I'm going to adhere the trees and the sentiment with some liquid glue. I'm going to put one a little higher than the other. And you can lay it down if you want. I just think it's more fun to, you know, struggle with it a little bit on camera. That's always fun. I know that's why you come, is to watch me struggle with stuff. And, you know, tell you about tomato sauce. Okay, and that one I'm dropping down just a little bit. And then I'm going to just center this on the bay, like so. All right. Just put a little bit of liquid glue right in there. And it helps if you have your card straight. Like that. Okay. So that can set for a second. And then, there you go, Lou. Don't send them any card. If anybody ever complains to you about a handmade card, seriously, they need to be off the list. All right, I'm going to take some of these coppery snowflakes and adhere them. If you don't love the copper, I kind of think it's cool, but if you don't love the copper on here, please, there's 2 other colors, gold or white. You can absolutely do whichever colors make you the happiest. It's your card. You do what makes you happy. I think these are so pretty. And you know what? I love little flat embellishments because my cards are always thick. And so if I don't have to put a harsh, big, fat embellishment on something, then I am really happy. So these are awesome. They've already got a glue dot on them. You just pick them up and put them down. Pick it up and put it down like that. And there you go. And that, as they say in some industry somewhere, is that. So let's go ahead and do our envelope. Don't get excited. You've got to, yes, include a sticky note with the instructions. That is probably a very good plan, really. I mean, really, that's probably the bestest plan ever. All right, I'm just going to put some pebbled path trees on the front, and we'll be done. It is good. It is the best sauce. It really is. And when she makes it, I modify the recipe a little bit because I don't put meat in it. I keep mine meatless just because that way I can put anything in that I want, and it isn't competing with the flavors. But you can put sausage and beef in it and make it a meat marinara, or that's a different name, but I don't know what it is right now. So, you know, make it that marinara with meat in it. All right, we're just going to do a couple of trees on this edge like that. And then some of the dark wood grain on the envelope flap. There we go. Pretty, pretty, pretty DSP. I love all the options that it gives you for decorating with. Hey, Victoria. Italian meat sauce or gravy. There you go. Yes, you can make it into fresh tomato gravy. But it is for people who have like big gardens and have bumpers of tomatoes, I think it's one of the best sauces to just have on hand, especially with freeze drying it, or not freeze drying it, but dehydrating some of the sauce after it's made and freezing some of the sauce. It's perfect. Okay, so there we go. Here's the one I made. Look, let's see if we can tell the difference. Okay. Here. It's going to be two-hand Monty. Okay. Which is the one that does the hard dimensionals and which is the one that did the easy dimensionals? Can anybody tell? No. No, you can't. So there you go. The instructions on the blog tomorrow are going to have the easy dimensionals because I was trying to figure out why not just do it like that? Hello. All right, guys, I appreciate you spending some time with me, and I really appreciate you letting me do a little experimenting with the technique so that I could get it better and a little more streamlined for you, make it easier. And I hope you will do a bay window card because they're really cool. Really cool. I think they're so cool. Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see. Let's see. This is Thursday, so I hope I'll see you on Saturday at 7 for another video. I don't know what we're making, but it's going to be something, and hopefully it'll be fun and something that you like. Have a great rest of your week and a good start to your weekend. Thanks, everybody. Ta.